Hello and a warm welcome to South Central on ET Now. This is India's first and only business news bulletin to focus on South India as we bring you key stories, news and market updates that matter to the region. My name is Jude Sanath and these are the stories we're tracking at this hour. Tamil Nadu will get India's first marine export SEZ. The announcement comes even as the southern state targets a potential investment figure of $1 billion in feed mills, cold storage, packaging and logistics. More investment news from Tamil Nadu. 3 Taiwanese firms are on the lookout for investment opportunities in Tirunelveli and Tuticorin as industrial logistics and export facilities turn into top priorities. IT isn't going anywhere. That's the word coming in from Purvankara CEO for South India, Malana Saslu, as the developer bets big on AI to push office absorption in India's tech capital. Meanwhile, the Karnataka High Court will get to decide the conditional validity of the Karnataka Platform-Based Gig Workers Act. The court, however, is yet to set a date for hearing Swiggy and Eternal's petition. And a survey conducted by Bengaluru-based EV charging station manufacturer Kazam says 45% of Indian homes may require electrical upgrades for safe EV charging. More on that in just a bit. Our top story first. Tamil Nadu is set to become home to India's first dedicated marine export special economic zone. This even as investments pegged at nearly $1 billion are set to be in the offing. This, remember, totals to around 8,600 crore rupees approximately. Now, the proposed marine-focused SEZs are aimed at boosting seafood processing, value addition and exports while strengthening India's position in the global marine products trade. The project, remember, is expected to create large-scale employment across the state's coastal districts while attracting investments into cold chain, infrastructure processing and export-oriented manufacturing. The dedicated zones are also expected to improve logistics and enhance the competitiveness of India's marine exports by bringing the entire value chain under one ecosystem. Now, the move comes even as India looks to expand its export base and push higher value processed marine products in international markets, with Tamil Nadu emerging as the country's first hub for specialized marine export zones. Staying with more news from Tamil Nadu, the state's push to become a global electronics and semiconductor manufacturing hub has received another boost with an 8-member delegation from Taiwan scouting investment opportunities in Tirunelveli SIPCOT and the VOC port at Thoothukudi. The visit is linked to a proposed investment of 80,000 crore rupees, with 3 Taiwanese companies evaluating the region for large-scale manufacturing projects. Delegation is taking a look at key infra, including industrial land, availability, power and water supply, not forgetting road and port connectivity, air access and export logistics too. Officials are also showcasing the industrial ecosystem at the Gangaikondan SIPCOT Park and Thoothukudi, with the port expected to play a crucial role in supporting manufacturing facilities that are being built for the future. The proposed investment is expected to span sectors like electronics, semiconductors, electronic components and renewable energy, thereby reinforcing Tamil Nadu's ambitions to attract high-value global manufacturing, even as companies diversify supply chains well beyond China. Now, if the investment does materialize, it will rank among the state's largest proposed foreign investment commitments, with further strengthening of Tamil Nadu's position as an emerging manufacturing and export hub. And staying with more news from the state, Tamil Nadu will procure only air-conditioned government buses going forward. At least that's what the Transport Department has said, referring to an apparent directive coming straight from the office of Chief Minister Joseph Vijay, who we're told wants to make AC buses the standard for all future fleet additions. Now, the move is aimed at modernizing the state's public transport network and improving commuter comfort. The announcement comes just days after the government flagged off 300 new buses for deployment across 8 transport corporations. The government has also said it wants to strengthen bus connectivity to remote parts of Tamil Nadu, thereby signaling a broader push to upgrade public transport infrastructure. On to our lead story next. India's EV revolution has largely been measured by the number of electric vehicles on the road and the rapid expansion of public charging stations. But a new report suggests that the biggest bottleneck may actually be much closer to home. Bengaluru headquartered EV charging company Kazam, along with the Alliance for an Energy Efficient Economy or AEEE, has analyzed data from more than 80,000 residential EV charger installations across India and has found that nearly 45% of Indian homes require electrical upgrades before they can safely support EV charging. Now, the report also points out that while public charging infrastructure has grown sharply over the last 3 years, the majority of daily charging will continue to happen right here at home, thereby making residential infrastructure critical to India's net zero ambitions. So, what are the biggest roadblocks to this? What needs to change? And more importantly, what does this mean for consumers, developers, discoms, and policymakers? Joining us now to discuss the findings of that report is Akshay Shekhar, co-founder and CEO of Bengaluru-based Kazam. Akshay, firstly, thanks so much for joining us on South Central today. Now, your report is based on over 80,000 residential charger installations. It concludes that 45% homes need electrical upgrades. Can you break down this number for us? What percentage of installations require rewiring, load upgrades, earthing corrections, or other electrical interventions, really, Akshay?
So out of the 80,000, survey that was done, because currently there are close to 300,000 charge points that Kazam has reached from the time we actually started writing on this report. So in this 80,000, roughly around 45,000 homes needed a new earthing set. And that itself is alarming because the rest of the appliances are also then working without any kind of earthing or grounding in that matter. So if your house consumes 2 kilowatts, an EV itself will consume 3 kilowatts and higher in the three-wheeler, and if you're talking of four-wheeler, it is even higher. So the entire wiring had to be done in all the 100% houses completely. Some did require you to kind of do some they did not even have structural changes. So around 15 or 20% of them needed structural interventions from a parking space available or a pillar available to even put and install these charging stations.
Right. So how big is the opportunity here then, Akshay? Now, if India is targeting tens of millions of EVs over the next decade, how many residential charging points will the country actually need? And what size of a market does that represent for the industry?
I think it's a very mammoth requirement currently. So India has around 350 million or 35 crore vehicles density as we speak right now. And we have an ambition to get 30% by 2030, right? And I think there are policies that are now coming in, especially the Delhi EV policy that has come out, rolled out and sanctioned yesterday, can really push this to a next level, right? So lower estimates of 20% mean roughly around 7 crore or 70 million EVSCs or charge points needed at home and captive spaces. Plus, additionally, if you think about 30%, then this could go roughly around 10 crores of charge points that are needed in the next 4 to 5 years alone.
Now, what your report that you've worked on along with AEEE actually says is that only 55% of prospective EV buyers at present have access to home charging. So if that does not improve, how much could it slow EV adoption over the next 5 years? And conversely, what if an uplift in EV sales could actually better residential charging, charging than unlock?
See, I think every buyer in the EV space, if you go to maybe Reddit or you just Google it, you will find in all the forums that they're only and only talking about how do I get home charging. They're not really dependent on public chargers alone, because just think about yourself. You would never go to a public space every day to stand over there for 20, 30 minutes on a fast charger to ensure that your vehicle gets charged. That is something which, because time is currency, you would never want to do that. But at home, you come back and then you just plug your vehicle and you can immediately go to, your living room in front of your TV or sofa, just lie down or do whatever you want to do. So home charging becomes very, very important. The hurdle, however, is, multi-stakeholder management to get these home charge points, because you have if you're living in a multi-condo or multi-apartment, then you have the housing society, RWA, which has to, where you need to ensure that they have certain norms to install the charging station. If you're in an independent house, you need fire NOCs, etc., for the utility company to approve your charging station, and so on and so forth. So these are some pertinent, challenges that we have currently. And this report is basically a conversation starter, with 80,000 charge points that were surveyed, and now a player like us is able to do 300,000 charge points and more. It is just the conversation starter, so that these challenges are getting highlighted, and once the data is there is when you can actually roll it out into policy and ensure that it really happens.
Now, you've analyzed charging patterns across thousands of users. How many hours does the average Indian EV charge at home every day, and how much electricity does it consume? And more importantly, what does that mean for discoms and grid planning initiatives? Yeah,
so an average two-wheeler will consume anywhere between 2 to 3 kilowatt hours a day. A three-wheeler who takes an auto rickshaw and goes from one place to another, they consume anywhere between 10 to 12 kilowatt hours a day. And a four-wheeler, on an average, because they don't charge every day, a passenger four-wheeler who's there, they would charge on an average around 10 kilowatt hour every day. So that's the kind of load that is there. Each and every house where you would actually now start using your electric vehicle can take anywhere between one full house worth of electricity in one go, up to 5 to 10 houses of electricity in one single go. Now, imagine that the utility company has to suddenly start, solving for this massive load, and especially during peak hours when everybody is going to come back home at 6, 7, 8 in the evening and plug their vehicles. Recently, I was in this report. We actually even spoke to the discoms, and discoms have told that the pattern of load shifting has actually moved from, especially during peak summer times when it used to be the afternoons when people switched on AC, to now being late evenings when people actually come back home and start plugging in. And an interesting part about also on this is there have been around 3 lakh plus vehicles, electric vehicles sold in Delhi, and there are only 6,000 EV meters that have been issued by the utility discoms, and people have actually made an attempt to get that. So the gap is like crazy. It's like, 2% of people have actually availed some facility. So when the discom does not have data around forecasting about buying new loads and upgrading their entire system, then we could have blackouts. And we've already started seeing this happen, say sometime last week, when we had outages on the metro station and people really had to walk down on the streets of the metro ramp. So I'm saying that this is, if you don't solve for it right now, especially with the ambition that India has, this is just going to be a very, very larger problem and disastrous for us.
Right. So for the benefit of our viewers, Akshay, how much does it typically cost today to make a home EV ready? And for a consumer living in an independent home versus an apartment, what is the average investment that is required? And how much can that increase in older buildings, perhaps?
Yeah, so I think roughly to put up an earthing set plus, doing the wiring would be anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. The EVSC, however, depends upon the type of, output of the EVSC that you're really looking at, from 3 kilowatt all the way up to 22 kilowatt. So that could range another, 5,000 all the way up to 30,000. So all put together, if you're buying at the lowest level, level, it could be anywhere between 8 to 9,000 rupees. And on the higher side, it could go all the way up to 35, 40,000 rupees. Yeah. And this is, I'm talking of numbers on mass scale, because, the numbers you might have seen earlier would have been on, early adoption scale.
Right, so let's shift focus away from that report and talk business for a bit. What do Kazam's business numbers look like as on date? How many chargers have you deployed so far? And across how many cities and PIN codes are we talking about? And more importantly, what kind of deployment growth are you targeting over the next 2 to 3 years?
I think we have grown significantly in the last 3-4 years. I think every year we make a presentation to our board saying that we'll hit these numbers, and we've been outgrowing those numbers every year, and I think we are very happy about that. Recently, we just crossed 3 lakh installations of charge points across the country. This includes around 10,000 pin codes, and we can do 1,000 pin codes in less than 48 hours today. And that's the kind of scale that we have reached. Very recently, we will be touching more towards the 15 to 18,000 charge points installed per month as we speak right now.
So are there any bottlenecks or obstacles standing in the way of maximizing charging infrastructure? And I asked you this question primarily because almost any conversation we have today about EVs, the focus almost always turns to EV charging infrastructure, their availability, functionality, so on and so forth. So what kind of challenges do you see towards optimizing the presence of this infra?
I think, every stakeholder is doing their bit to solve problems for their particular function. Say, for example, if I talk about utility distribution companies, there is All India Distribution Network Alliance that kind of solves for them. There is a guideline given by CEA about how charge points should be done. There is a guideline around RTOs to register the vehicles, but none of them are talking to each other. So the collaborativeness of all of this is missing currently. And if we kind of solve that piece, then we could have a single platform that will allow every consumer to get their EV home ready. Like, to give you an example, if you are getting your vehicle registered today, you get a third-party insurance. The dealer goes through the entire registration process like an agent for you and ensures that. But 25 years ago, you had to get the registration done yourself, and it used to take 20 days to do that. Today, all our policies and our stakeholders are on the ICE era. If we really have to adopt to EV, we need to move these stakeholders and let them think and create checklists and policies for the EV era. Today, we have to get your homes ready so that you adopt to EV seamlessly, and it becomes an easy and not really a hassle for you to adopt to EV. And that is what this report also kind of talks to you about, that you need a fire NOC, you need the right cabling, you need the load sanction to be updated. And without this, we really can't adopt to EV.
Right, before we end then, let me ask you, if multiple governments do go about adopting your recommendation for a national residential EV readiness framework, what impact could it have in terms of numbers? And more importantly, how many additional homes could become EV ready? What investment will of course be required for this? And how much faster could India's EV transition move as a result of this?
Actually, the government, there are governments, I'm not talking specific to India, but there are governments outside of India, especially in the EU market. They have a framework called as the right to charge. The right to charge gives you the framework to say that, hey, you know what, if I have a parking spot and I want, or if even a tenant, I need to have a authority to install charge points and charge my vehicle on a day-to-day basis. And if that kind of gets implemented in an India framework, the numbers are staggering. Like it is just by 2030, you would put anywhere between, as I said, 10 crore charge points, and each charge point being at an average price of 10,000 rupees with the base infrastructure. If I talk on the lower side, that's the kind of investment that will have to happen in India. So that roughly is close to around, I think, 10,000 crores.
Well, Akshay Shekhar, let's hope Indians get more EV ready in the near future. On that note, thank you so much for joining us and breaking down some of those insights from that report. Moving on to news from real estate next. IT isn't going anywhere. At least that's the word coming in from Puravankara's CEO for South India, Malana Saslu. In an exclusive chat with ET Now, the Puravankara boss said that IT-driven office absorption was holding strong in the Bengaluru market, with factors like AI adoption making a great case for developers to continue staying bullish on the office market here. Puravankara has been in the news ever since it signed a joint development agreement for 6.4 acres of prime real estate in Bengaluru's Sajapur micro-market with a gross development value of 1,000 crore rupees. The company, it seems, is now equally bullish on the office market too. Here's more from what the Puravankara management had to say.
All in all, it's fantastic and we've done well. This is continuation of what we did from FY25. In FY25, we had made acquisitions worth 13,000 crore rupees of top line. And in FY26, that we did 15,200 crores. As far as Bangalore is concerned, and as you may see that the office absorption continues to be strong, and it's not, IT has not gone anywhere. In my opinion, that with the AI coming in and the AI deployment, that will bring a lot of jobs to Bangalore. And as you may see that the AI, the people who are in the center of AI, like Google and NVIDIA, have taken large spaces in Bangalore. So we continue to grow. And Bangalore is not currently, I think we have moved beyond IT. And if you go to Bangalore North and Hardware Park and Aerospace Park, a lot of industrialization that has happened in Bangalore North area, where we are very confident that more jobs are going to get generated and more manufacturing will come to Bangalore. So we are very bullish. One is the growth, and we expect Bangalore city to be growing at 15%. More than that, the consolidation has happened and continue to happen because of the listed players, the trust that we have built over the last 50 years, and that'll pay us well. So we're expanding our market share in Bangalore market. So that's the efforts that we are putting together. As far as Bangalore is concerned, and as you may see that the office absorption continues to be strong, and it's not, IT has not gone anywhere. In my opinion, that with the AI coming in.
Staying with more news from real estate, realty major Godrej Properties has expanded its presence in Tamil Nadu. And this even as it has acquired a 47-acre land bank in South Chennai for a plotted residential development. The project will have a developable potential of about 1.2 million square feet and is expected to generate nearly 500 crore rupees in revenue. Now, the acquisition comes amid rising demand for plotted developments in Chennai's southern suburbs, with the company citing strong home buyer interest and improving infrastructure in the region. The move further strengthens Godrej Properties' footprint in South India as it continues to add land parcels across key housing markets, with its Chennai land bank now becoming part of that addition, even as the company looks to go big in this market. And with that, it's a wrap on the bulletin today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow with more news and updates from South India. But for the moment, it's goodbye from us.